Okay, welcome everybody. This is a presentation just about what the Healthy Schools Recognition Program is and kind of the areas that we focus on. My name is Sandy Fisher. I'm the Environmental Health and Building Performance Manager at Women for a Healthy Environment. I'm joined today by Bukola Eboli, Director of our Healthy Learning, and Kate Wolf, our Environmental Education Coordinator. We're going to be walking you through the Healthy Schools Recognition Program, uh, initiative that celebrates schools taking steps towards creating healthier and safer learning environments. So, Women for a Healthy Environment, or WE, is a nonprofit organization that underpowers underserved communities to build resilience, promote equity, especially in schools and early learning centers. We do also have um, a home section and a policy section of the organization. We focus on creating healthier environments for children through initiatives rooted in scientific research. Today's webinar is going to cover why healthy schools are crucial for students success and how our school is, or how your school can get involved with the Healthy Schools Recognition Program. So Healthy Schools are the foundation for successful students, teachers, staff, and the environments in which children can learn and have a profound impact on their health, well-being, and academic success. Research shows that children spend over 1,000 hours a year in school buildings, making the quality of these environments crucial for their development. So, a lot of schools are in older buildings with outdated infrastructure, which increases the risk of environmental hazards like poor indoor air quality, lead, radon, issues that can affect students' health and therefore the attendance, their academic performance, their development. And for example, like indoor air quality is a leading contributor to asthma, which is one of the top causes for absenteeism in school-aged children in the United States. So the Healthy Schools Recognition Program was created to help schools towards making their buildings healthier, more sustainable centers for the students, the staff, and the communities that use them. It recognizes the efforts of participants to provide a comprehensive guide, creating a healthy space for those who utilize it. Healthy Schools PA was created to address environmental risk factors in school environments, and our mission is to create healthier spaces where children could grow and learn free from harmful exposures. So, what makes a healthy environment? A healthy environment is clean, free of toxins, debris, both visible and invisible, dry. Humidity is at like a comfortable temperature, ideally between 30 and 70%, 70%. So preventing fungal growth, as well as not too dry as to cause damage to the building or discomfort to those in it. Quiet, well lit, comfortable temperature. Rooms are at a habitable temperature throughout the seasons and don't vary widely throughout the building, and also have continuous airflow. Uh, Proper ventilation prevents a lot of pollutants from accumulating and helps reduce airborne disease. Having an indoor air quality management plan helps to create and maintain good IQ. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Artificial turf playing surfaces, which are really common in schools. The materials can have heavy metals and carcinogens in them, which obviously pose a health risk, especially to young children who are more likely to come in contact with the substances while they're playing. Testing and carefully selecting a safe material for playgrounds and athletic fields is prudent. Natural playing surface is preferred and easier to maintain over time, whereas turf fields only last about 10 years before they need to be replaced. Lead is commonly found in older buildings. It's a serious concern when younger children are exposed, or anyone, but especially for those developing. It's found in old paint, dust, water fixtures, and even soil. And exposure can have significant consequences on a child's brain development, leading to learning disabilities, behavioral problems. So testing and removing lead sources is critical to reducing poisoning in our children. PCBs are a toxic industrial chemical that were commonly used in building materials like lighting fixtures, caulking, before it was banned in the 1970s. But schools built before this time may have a lot of these materials in place. PCBs are known to cause a variety of health issues, including cancer, and have effects on the immune, reproductive, nervous, and endocrine systems. So identifying and safely removing PCBs is essential to reducing their risks. Ventilation can exacerbate a lot of IAQ issues in the building. Without good turnover, dust, VOCs, CO2, and humidity can all collect. So proper ventilation and adequate air turnover is one of the best ways to improve a building's air quality. Then humidity and signs of mold. Mold is common in schools, especially areas prone to dampness, like around the windows or bathrooms. Mold triggers allergies, asthma attacks, other respiratory issues and infections. So it's important to address the signs of moisture or leaks before they become a mold issue. Keeping a school building dry and well maintained goes a long way towards preventing mold. So cleaning products used in schools a lot of times contain toxic ingredients that can affect the health of students and staff, especially those with asthma or chemical sensitivities. So opting for third-party certified green cleaning products can help reduce the use of harmful chemicals while maintaining a clean and healthy environment. Pests are a problem in every building. Schools with pest issues are introduce allergens like rodent droppings, cockroach dander, and traditional pest control often involves introducing more indoor air irritants involving harmful pesticides. So integrated pest management is a preventative way of focusing on long-term prevention by eliminating the habitats and using non-toxic methods before an infestation starts. Lastly, radon is a colorless, odorless gas commonly found in old buildings. It's naturally occurring, and it can seep into buildings, usually in the basement. Pennsylvania has some of the highest radon levels in the country, and long-term exposure greatly increases the risk of lung cancer. Testing for radon and taking steps to remediate it can ensure that indoor air is safe for the students and staff. The health impacts of all of these things. So the indoor and outdoor pollutants that impact our schools. A lot of pollutants accumulate and can pose health risks, as we mentioned. Dust, pests, pesticides, dampness, mold, poor ventilation, toxic cleaning or products or building materials are just some of these culprits, which leads to irritation of the skin, mucous membranes, and the lungs, as well as increased asthma attacks, respiratory issues among students and staff. When an environment is uncomfortable, students lose focus. And when the environment causes a health issue, it causes loss of class time by having to go to the nurse or needing to get a drink. But then eventually, and it does lead to potential missed days of school. The outside air also has an impact, particularly for schools near busy roads or highways or industrial sites. Pollution from pesticide use, idling exhaust, and industrial emissions can seep inside the school, affecting the quality of the air everyone is breathing throughout the day. For example, in southwestern PA, there are over 350 active gas wells within a 1 mile radius of a public school. And these sites release harmful chemicals into our air, further deteriorating the outdoor air quality and contributing to health risks such as asthma, respiratory issues, and long-term developmental impacts, both physical and neurological. So making sure that we address both our indoor and outdoor air quality is vital to protecting our students, staff, and simple measures like improving ventilation, using non-toxic cleaning products, enforcing anti-idling laws, and advocating for a 1 mile buffer from industrial sites can make a significant difference in creating a healthier learning environment. So as we're talking about our school buildings, the indoor air quality can be 2 to 5 times worse than the air quality outside. Studies show that students exposed to poor indoor air quality can experience reduced concentration, lower test scores, and overall decline in academic performance. But a study by the EPA found that improving ventilation in schools can also increase test scores by 5 to 10%. So it goes without saying, but improving air quality can positively impact students and staff. All right, lead. Lead is a serious issue in all older buildings. Lead paint was banned in 1978, but layers back, it still exists. It's one of the most significant environmental health threats to children due to its neurotoxicity. Elevated blood lead levels can lead to damage in the brain and nervous system, slow growth and development, cause hearing and speech issues. It impacts every organ in the body, and there's no safe level of exposure. Worse, many children don't have obvious symptoms of elevated blood lead levels. So it's recommended that children get tested for lead between 9 and 12 months and again at 2 years. This is standard practice in at least Allegheny County due to the universal lead testing policy put in place in 2018. But once kids become school age, it's elective to test a child. And schools are unfortunately common sites for lead. And despite these risks, testing for lead in schools is often voluntary, which is why it's essential for schools to take the initiative. And there are several ways that schools can address this issue and reduce the lead exposure for their students. So how does lead get into a student through the school? So if paint is cracked and exposed, it gets into the dust as particles. It can also be in soil. And in schools commonly, it enters the drinking water through old plumbing systems. So a lot of schools with outdated infrastructure may have a lead issue. It's and the lead pipes and solder are commonly used in plumbing systems up until 1986. Buildings constructed before then are more likely to have lead in their plumbing, which leaks into drinking water over time. And even with brass fixtures, those can contain up to 20% lead by weight. And even up until 2014, they were allowed to contain up to 8% lead. So these contribute to lead exposures today. Water staying stagnant during weekends, holidays, breaks, for extended period increases the chance of lead leaching into the school's water supplies. Okay. Radon. Colorless, odorless, and carcinogenic. It's the second leading cause of lung cancer in the US behind smoking at about 3 to 8% of cases. It is the number one cause of lung cancer in non-smokers, and for smokers, it magnifies the chances of getting lung cancer. Many schools do utilize their basements for learning and activities, and radon testing isn't required. And since the gas is odorless and colorless, testing is the only way to know what levels of radon are seeping into the school. But radon can be mitigated through ventilation. So if we look at this map, Pennsylvania has the highest radon levels measured in the United States. Some counties, Lehigh County in particular, have measured levels as high as 17,000 picocuries per liter. And just for reference, the EPA recommends taking action at 4 picocuries per liter. So a lot of areas in Pennsylvania far exceed safe limits, making testing a critical step for schools to take. You'll notice that most of this map is red, and that means there's just like the highest potential for radon over that 4 picocurie per liter. So we want to make sure that people know there's no immediate symptoms of exposure, but over time, it can cause lung cancer. So in schools, about 1 in 5 schools have a classroom with high short-term radon levels, which means children and staff are at risk of this long-term exposure without knowing it. And the EPA strongly recommends that all schools be tested for radon, but testing isn't required by law in every state. Only 11 states have enacted legislation requiring radon testing in schools, and Pennsylvania is not one of them, despite having some of the highest radon levels in the country. So, like with lead, testing is voluntary, but schools should take the initiative to ensure that this exposure is not happening to the students and staff. Right. So, what can people do? Our Healthy Schools Recognition Program is designed to celebrate schools that are taking proactive steps towards creating healthier environments away from these issues that we have been discussing. So whether a school is focused on improving air quality, water quality, reducing environmental toxins, this program is here to support and recognize those efforts. Schools can also apply for our 1,000 Hours a Year program to help mitigate environmental hazards, build management plans. Our goal is to guide schools towards recognition at the state level. For Pennsylvania's Department of Education, their pathways to green schools. All public, private, charter schools in Pennsylvania are eligible to participate. So our categories are school sustainability, which include air quality, water, waste, energy, then school grounds, community engagement, curriculum integration, and administrative work. So our word categories, everyone who completes at least one activity does get honorable mention. And then an emerging school, which is just starting these initiatives, and completes at least 15 activities. High honor roll, at least 30. High honor roll, or honor roll is at least 30. High honor roll is at least 50. And high honor roll with distinction completes at least 75 of these activities. So these are just some examples, like we talked about with air quality, making sure that the vents are open and unblocked, that the HVAC system is being taken care of properly, perhaps starting composting, putting in a no idling policy, things like this. And then we also encourage curriculum integration. So I'm going to have Kate talk a little bit about one of our programs, the Eco Student Stewardship Club.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Kate. I'm an environmental education coordinator with Women for a Healthy Environment. I hold degrees in biology and public health, which have really shaped my belief that environmental learning is a really powerful pathway for students and their communities, specifically for them to build agency. So with all of the programming that I do, I strive to create an experience inside and outside the classroom that fosters meaningful connections, supports diverse learning styles through experimentation and informed action, which I and, this organization recognizes as really essential steps towards advancing environmental justice in the environmental education realm and education in general. So to get into the program a little bit, the Eco Student Stewardship Club is designed for students in grades 6 through 12 who want to explore real environmental issues and take meaningful action. It's a hands-on, standards-aligned curriculum rooted in local environmental challenges here in southwestern Pennsylvania specifically. So the curriculum is developed with support from the EPA's Environmental Education Grant, ensuring strong scientific grounding and alignment with PA Steel's standards. So our goal is to empower students to investigate issues in their own communities and to develop critical thinking, leadership, and advocacy skills through this program. Specifically, this program is chunked into 4 units. The first unit relates to safe and clean water. So this could include exploration into watershed health within the Monongahela, Allegheny, Ohio, and Youghiogheny River systems, looking at specific hazards of concerns and ways to protect. The second unit focuses on climate and air quality. So this could be anything from using air quality monitors in the spaces that we are interacting with students to understand pollution prevalence, the sources of that pollution, and what might be some health implications down the line. And then kind of talking about interventions, things to do on bad air days. The third unit focuses on waste in our community. So that might look like examining historical or present day land use, looking at waste management systems that we currently practice, and maybe comparing them to other systems such as composting systems. We also do a little bit of discussion and have in our units some discussion of the limits of recycling and talking about greenwashing tactics. And we also have some of the hands-on components revolving around experimentation, could involve even soil sampling at the site with students. And then the fourth unit revolves around a culminating service project, which allows students to apply their learning by identifying an environmental issue in our school or community areas, developing a solution plan, and implementing it with support from me or other community partners. Some of the projects that we have worked with students to develop and implement revolve around eco-friendly hygiene kits that students constructed and were able to distribute. We also took part in some tree plantings and the establishment of some veggie and perennial gardens, as well as a fashion show at the end of the school year last year, which was very fun. And those were all, promoted by students and delivered by them as participants in the club. So each unit blends lessons, discussions, debates, and hands-on activities. So students aren't just learning about environmental issues, they're actively engaging with them. Schools and youth organizations can participate by adopting the full curriculum as a club or a classroom program, or if a school wants a single workshop or short series, we can also provide that as well. So we also like to bring in guest speakers from environmental organizations on the front lines of this stewardship. Some of the organizations that we've worked with most recently include the Group Against Smog and Pollution, who shared some really cool information on bioindicators and understanding air quality. We've worked with Three Rivers Waterkeepers to help students understand how to be an advocate for their local waterways and ways to spot pollution in their area. We've also worked with the organization called Communitopia, and they gave us a really cool introduction to composting. And for any students that sounded like they would like to dabble in this and start experimenting at home, they were given supports that were close to them. So students can participate in the club. Uh, those who do, they walk away with a sense of stewardship and agency, understanding not just what the problems are, but how they can contribute to solutions. The curriculum is place-based, so students see how global issues like climate change show up right in their neighborhoods. If you are interested in bringing this program to your school or community, you can scan the QR code to learn more and share your interest there. We're always really excited to partner with educators, after-school programs, and youth groups. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kate. So I want to talk about ways we can help you get started. So watching previous webinars, we have them on integrated pest management, radon, state and federal funding, but also be on the lookout for our future webinars. Many include Act 48 credit, which is a checkmark for professional development for the Healthy Schools Recognition Program. Also, as Kate mentioned, the Eco Student Stewardship Club is a great way to get the curriculum integration, which Kate facilitates, and then our organization can also help facilitate the EPA flag program, which is specifically focused on air quality, or outdoor air quality, and we can help facilitate that. And then we also have our 1,000 hours a year program, which helps with check marks for tracking ambient air, creating and implementing an indoor air quality management plan, radon testing, and more. We can also help get folks connected to the PA Department of Environmental Protection for lead testing in their buildings, which is also another check mark on our HSRP list. So I want to talk about other ways that schools can improve things like their indoor air quality. We have discussed a lot of these already, but I do want to talk about implementing them and highlighting a few that we haven't really gone in depth with. So I've mentioned the indoor air quality management plan, but this is an involved process, but it does help improve the health of the students, the staff, and the building. The care and efficiency put in is definitely reflected in what the student performance, staff performance, and efficiency in the building. So it includes a lot of the items actually listed here, but also auditing the building, and we can work with schools to develop this comprehensive IAQ management plan, walking through the building, reviewing policies that are already in place, and reviewing the cleaning products that the school uses. We can do baseline monitoring of the indoor air quality, create an IAQ team, and put together checklists for each kind of section of the school ecosystem in order to maintain the indoor air quality. Proper ventilation, as I mentioned, is probably the most impactful way to improve indoor air quality. Without proper turnover, indoor air quality is generally worse than outdoor air quality. And it's also important that air pressure is moved through the rooms properly. For example, air intake should come from the outside and push through somewhere like a library or a lecture classroom, and then lastly ventilate out to the outside through a science, art, custodial room, places that are likely to have higher VOCs, debris, potential toxins. And as part of this, maintaining the HVAC system by replacing the filter as recommended, cleaning the intake and outtake vents, not only help the indoor air quality, but also the energy efficiency of the unit and its longevity. Using non-toxic cleaning products that are fragrance-free reduces VOCs and irritants in the air. We recommend that products be third-party certified by something like Safer Choice, Design for the Environment, Ecologo, and Green Seal. It just ensures that what's inside of these cleaning products are safe to use. Idling is not just bad for our environment, but it is a serious concern for developing lungs. Especially in the winter, pollution dissipates slower. It stays closer to the ground for longer and creates, as well in the summer, but more so in the winter, it creates this noxious cloud of pollution, dense with hazardous air pollutants that students are walking through usually twice daily. Hazardous air pollutants are pollutants that are known or suspected to cause cancer and or have serious health effects. And as children's lungs are still developing, when they're exposed to elevated levels of these pollutants, they have an increased risk of developing asthma, other respiratory issues, adverse health effects. They take in more air per pound than adults. So it's harder for their bodies to deal with all of this excess. Pollution also hurts healthy lungs, in addition to aggravating things like respiratory issues, allergies, and even increasing risk of cardiovascular disease. An anti-idling policy in a school can reduce this plume drastically, especially for the buses and anyone coming to pick up their kids. Right. Integrated pest management is preventative, and prevention of pests greatly reduces the need for harmful pesticides in and around school grounds. A lot of schools have a pest management policy, and this is an example of something that we could review to see if there are opportunities to use more preventative measures before the need for pesticides, especially while kids are in the building, is needed. Okay. Safe building materials. The proper removal and installation methods during renovation is paramount to ensuring we don't expose students and staff to dangerous materials like asbestos and lead. So being intentional about when the work is done. For example, if a project may expose asbestos, save the project for a school break and make sure that the people who are doing the work are not only certified in asbestos abatement, but also get their permit. And then if things like painting are needed to be done, do it on a Friday. So those VOCs can have time to dissipate over the weekend and it's not causing any type of irritation or greater inhalation by the students and staff than needed. Lead testing, as I mentioned before, this is voluntary, but it is good to conduct water tests regularly. In schools, the lead is often entering through the drinking water because of the corrosion, the stagnation. Regular testing can identify these risks early, allowing the school to take action before anyone gets lead poisoning. Having filtered drinking stations helps to remove the lead from water, making sure that every student with their 40-ounce Stanley cup is having safe water to drink. It's recommended that cold water be used for cooking. Hot water is more likely to leach lead from the pipes, and cold water reduces this risk. You can also test your paint before renovations. Lead was banned from paint in 1978, but in older buildings, it's a few layers back, and if that paint cracks or it needs to be removed, lead dust gets kicked up. So testing and knowing where lead paint is helps when doing renovations or repairs, so that it doesn't get disturbed, or if it is disturbed, wet methods of renovation are able to be used. It's also important to test soil where children might be playing. Lead is present in soil. It's a heavy metal, and when it was in gasoline, it was exposed as pollution and then sank back down into our soils. And also from paint layers that may have chipped off from the building. So testing helps ensure that when kids are playing, they're not also um, being poisoned by lead. The DEP does have a program to help test school buildings, and get schools tested, and potentially even help replace some of the water fountains and filtration. All right. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so the QR code is not working, but how to apply. The application process is easy. It's on our website. Um, I was hoping you could use the QR code and download the application form. Any supporting documentation is required. And if you need help with the checklist, feel free to reach out. I am more than willing and able to help support every step of the way. If you have any questions or want to know more about a checklist item, things like testing for lead, looking at air quality, creating a management plan, are all part of the HSRP checklist. Okay. Uh, Again, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, please contact me. Again, if our survey was working, that would be wonderful. But are there any questions? Okay.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is our contact information. If you have, like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Check out our website for more information on our programs. And we hopefully will have you sign up for our newsletter so you can learn about more webinars. And we look forward to seeing you all again.